Hey, what's up, guys? How are you? Welcome back. It's your boy Hebon, trying to come at you with another video. So, as you saw in the beginning and opening of the video, the pic that I posted up, Square Enix finally admits that all of their exclusive endeavors that they created and did with Sony have not panned out for their liking and for profitability. And I'm glad that this finally came out. I mean, how long have I said that games from Square Enix do not sell as much as people think on PlayStation when they're exclusive? And people swear up and down that I've had arguments with telling me, oh no, you're bugging. That's why they keep doing those deals. Final Fantasy sells like crazy. And I keep trying to explain to people that the Final Fantasy franchise only continues because when they make and create the game, right, except with the exception of the newer games that have been coming out that cost more money, they didn't spend a lot of money to make them or bring them out. The new one, like Final Fantasy 15 and the remake and of 7, right, and now 16 that's coming, those you can tell they put a lot more money and cost more expensive to make. They had a higher production value, and I'm almost 100% sure that because of that having a higher production value, and you seeing that they haven't sold probably the numbers that they wanted to, right? That's why they're saying and reporting now that making these deals haven't panned out to their liking and haven't panned out to profitability. When Final Fantasy 15 came out, the first thing I remember Square Enix coming out and saying was that it was very successful because 15 actually came out on all consoles, including Xbox, which I'm pretty sure had very good sales on Xbox combined with PlayStation, even though the PlayStation version or console probably had the most sales of the game. But regardless, nonetheless, if you sell another 3 to 4 million copies on another unit or another ecosystem, that's 4 million people that are not accounted for when you keep it only on a console like the PlayStation if it only sold 8 million. You see what I'm trying to say? So regardless of whether it sold more, it's still 4 million people you're missing out of making more money and extra revenue. Especially if the game's being sold, individually at $60 or $70, depending on the time it came out and the price point. So at the end of the day, you're still alienating yourself from making any revenue from all those people that bought it on Xbox. And for a long time, people keep asking, oh, well, why it doesn't come out? It's exclusive to the PlayStation, and it was supposed to be only for a year. For example, with Final Fantasy 7, the remake, and all this time is people be like, oh yeah, they extended it because it's doing so well, and it's only selling well because it's on PlayStation exclusively. And I keep telling them, no, that's Sony that keeps paying them so that they can keep it off Xbox and make themselves look good perception-wise, right? And then you come and look, and now they finally had to admit that, the games didn't come out. I mean, that the games, the exclusivity deals haven't panned out in their favor. And we all knew, well, I knew this. I've been saying this for the longest time. If they were doing well, you would see and hear about numbers. You would hear Square Enix touting numbers, saying, oh, the Final Fantasy 7 remake sold 10 million copies thus far on PlayStation. You understand? And you haven't heard that. That's how you know, and that's a good indication that it wasn't, that it was all rhetoric. It was just Sony trying to have more games on PS5, since they don't have something like Game Pass, to be like, oh yeah, but you can only play this exclusively on PlayStation, just like they're doing with Forspoken, which I think is going to fail, because the game hype for that game is really not the way it was, people saw it out to be when it first was shown. And also with games like The Last Ronin, or even, the upcoming Paradise Eve, or Project Eve, rather, sorry, or the Lost Souls, and just recently with Silent Hill 2, the remake. All them games are not going to do well. It's going to do maybe okay, but not well as far as sales go, for keeping it exclusive only on PlayStation. Now, I don't know how much is the time exclusivity for most of those. Some of those are permanently exclusive, like the Project Eve and the Lost Souls, I believe are 100% permanently, only a PlayStation thing, and The Last Ronin, if I'm not mistaken. So again, it's great to see that it's, I was right, and that all those that argued with me saying, no, I didn't know what I was talking about, now see that I was, because they think that it's just hate. No, it's common sense when you see these things for so long, and you've been around as long as I have playing video games in the video game space, since all of the inception of all this with companies and new publishers and, companies like Nintendo and Sega came to the forefront. And it feels great. It feels great that I'm getting some type of vindication, even though it's been a long time. And don't get me wrong, shout out to my brother Unlimited Productions, that he pointed out, what's the point of admitting something if you're not going to bring them out to Xbox anyway? And he's 100% right. So in that sense, I agree. It's pretty pointless. But in my case, the reason why I'm pointing it out on the video today here is because I've been saying this for a long time, that Square Enix doesn't make money like that, the way people think, with having exclusivities and exclusive deals with Sony, and yet people swear up and down, yeah, of course they do. That's why they keep doing the deals. And I keep telling people no, because those games that they make don't cost as much as people think to make. And that's why when they sell a certain amount, they still have enough to continue and make another sequel, right? Like, let's say if Square published Star Ocean, it maybe cost them, let's say, $10 million, and it sold, let's say, 100 or 500,000 copies or 600,000 copies. That makes enough revenue for them to make another sequel because they didn't spend as much money. Just giving you an idea and an example. I'm not saying the numbers meet match for match. Just giving you ideas based on, the cost of what it would cost, but more than likely it costs for them to make their games. Because a lot of their games, they look dated. They look old. They don't look really next gen. A lot of them look generations behind from this generation concurrently. And, I know people don't want to admit that, but that's the truth. And that's not saying that the graphic quality is bad or that they don't look good. No. They still look pretty based on the artwork and the art style, but they just look dated. They don't look next gen, is what I'm saying. Not until you saw, Final Fantasy VII Remake or something like, like the upcoming Final Fantasy 16, for example. That's my point when I'm talking about that. So, like I was saying, that it's a good thing that people can now see the truth and the reality of the situation when it comes to Sony making these exclusive deals with set companies for set games, and people swear up and down that they're making all this money, cash over matter, right? Just because it's exclusive to let's say the leading platform, because that's the idea and the ideologies that people have still, that are also old ways of thinking, and that they're incorrect. A lot of people and a lot of developers in the industry still believe and think, because the console, right, the ratio being higher on one side than the other, that means if they bring their games out on that platform or that console, right, that means their games are going to sell better because it has more consoles out there in the market. when that's not really the case. The case works is the way that consoles and game sales works is based off the ecosystem itself, on how many people play or how many different types of games. And it's been already proven for a long time that on the Xbox ecosystem, and this probably includes PC as well, that the people that play on the Xbox ecosystem play more types of games and diversity, in different genres with more diversity. That they don't just play a certain type of genre only, like it seems to be the case with PlayStation, that either they're playing games that are popular, like a Fortnite, let's say, or an Apex, or the hardcore fan base that been following Sony for a long time for their exclusives, they just play the third person over the shoulders, right? Action adventure style or shooter style with heavy narrative driven games. Which that seems to be the case. And even in that point, the numbers are never really super high. It depends on the title. And most of the time it's, within the 5 million mark or the 6 million mark, which means those are the numbers that sell with actual profits, where they make actual money. Yeah, later on they'll come out and say things like, that, I don't know, Ghost of Tsushima sold 12 million copies or 15 million copies. But at that point, it's because the game sold at liquidated prices, meaning it with diminished returns. You sold a copy of the game, but there's really no profit being made by the developer or Sony, the publisher, because they sold for maybe 15, 20, or even $10 in some cases. So again, there's a lot of black and white situations, or a lot of variables, and it's not as simple as black and white. With the way that people try to think in perception in their head and try to think that that's how it works, which it doesn't. So, I just wanted to talk about this situation really fast and give my point of view from it. I want to try to do more videos based on topics going on, and it's usually hard. That's why you never see me do it in my own home, because I'm always out on the road a lot. So I'll do it right from the car, talk to you guys, on a more one-on-one personal level, basically, and get my point across, or my points of views, or my thoughts. And then you can, rebel back, or, talk back and have conversation in the comments, which is always good, and I think it's always healthy. So let's see what happens if anything else pops up to expand on this topic. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below about it. I'm glad that they did, but I hope to, the point of Unlimited, my brother, which he said, to the point where now that they admit to it and they realize it wasn't worth their time and had to admit it, that they changed their ways of doing business, and they'll stop doing these stupid, episodic type of deals and bring the games to more consoles like Xbox and even perhaps even Nintendo, depending on, on what game it is and if they're able to port it over, because it may not be as demanding, right? Because the Switch is still an inferior hardware and hard to port games over because of the inferiority in the hardware. Which is funny, because I know Nintendo put out a statement long ago, because of this Final Fantasy going to PlayStation, Sony buying them out, that they don't even want them back on their console or something like that. So we don't need you. This quote that was let out from an article or an interview long ago, and somebody had posted up not that long ago, which is pretty funny if you ask me, because at least that's ballsy. At least you're being honest and calling them out on their bullshit, and pretty much stupidity, right? Or anti-consumer practices, right? All right, guys, give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, or a thumbs down if you didn't. Share the video with someone you think might like it. As always, you can find me in all social media outlets. It's all down in the description below. You can also check out my channel on YouTube if you want to help me out in any way, shape, or form, because you like what I do, or just want to help me out from the kindness of your heart because you have the means to. Not obligated, only if you want to. There is a way you can do it. My PayPal and Patreon information in the description, also down below. Or if you just want me to, highlight something, like you want to donate something, so to highlight it on my channel, like a showcase, or I review it, or whatever, it would be more than an honor and privilege for me to do so. Just hit me up on one of the DMs on the, on the social media platforms, and we'll work out the particulars. So, guys, I'll see you. This is your boy Hebot signing off with a little quick video. I hope to see you soon. Happy New Year. God bless. And love you guys. See you in the next one. Bye.